Good morning, y'all, and welcome back to Apron Strings. It's about 10:30 or 11. Well, it's 11:15. It doesn't matter, but I'm getting ready to make some lunch for me and Troy. So today I'm making that casserole that I promised. And he can have everything that's in it, except the only thing that would be a no would be rice, and it only has a half a cup in the whole casserole. So we're going to say that it's okay because that's the only carbs he'll be getting. But anyway, I've got everything prepped, and the first thing I have to do is brown some hamburger meat, put the onions and peppers in it and garlic. So I'm going to get that going, and then we'll get the rest of it done. And we're going to have a yummy lunch, and then y'all can run get the stuff and make it for lunch or supper or whatever you want to make it for, but it's a good casserole. So let me get over to the stove and get a little bit of oil in the skillet, and I'm going to get my peppers and onions cooked down a little bit, and then I'm going to add my ground beef, let it cook, then we'll get everything put together. You really could make this with chicken if you wanted to, but I'm going to make it with ground beef. My favorite things to cook with, I like chicken and ground beef and sausage. That's my favorites. So today we're using the ground beef. Y'all, it's hotter than blazes in Texas. It's terrible outside. I got up and went out early this morning right after daybreak to water, and it was already 80 degrees. And I don't know how hot it is out there right now. I'm not going to go check it out because I'll be sweating, melting. Sugar melts. I'll be melting if I go out there. Let me get this going. I could just ramble on, but I'll start cooking and talking while I cook. I've got my skillet right here ready. Y'all can see from a distance. And I'm just going to add just a snitch of olive oil. My regular pourer-outer on here broke. And that one right there is stingy, and I don't like messing with it. You know, I wanted to show y'all all of my ingredients here. So I'm going to grab the camera and show you what I've prepped. Then I'll get over there and get it in the skillet. I have my ground beef, my onions, bell peppers, and garlic, cabbage that we're going to shred, a cup of Kobe Jack cheese, Rotel tomatoes or tomatoes with green chilies, tomato sauce, and all of my spices, and here's the rice. So I'm going to get it in the meat and all in the skillet and get that done, and then we'll assemble the casserole. I'm going to put my onions and bell peppers in first, and then I'll add the garlic here in a minute because I don't want it to get bitter. See if I can do this without. And goes the onions. You just want to sweat these down till they're tender. We're not caramelizing. So that's why I can mix them all in. Normally I would do the onions first if I was going to caramelize. Then I would add the bell pepper in. But I'm just going to sweat this down a little bit. My throw rug down there, the rubber stuff on the back is wore off. And if I touch it, it almost throws me. I guess that's why they're called a throw rug. It flips backwards. I need to find me some of that stuff that you put under rugs, I guess, because top of it's still pretty. Sunflowers, and I like them. Alright, I'm just going to let this cook down till it's kind of sweated down. And then I'm going to add the garlic. I'll bring y'all back because I want you to see everything we're doing. Old seasoned cooks know how to do this. But I never know who's watching. So I want to make sure that I give you good directions to where you'll have the same end result that I have. To me, it's just second nature. Throw the onions and blah, blah, blah. Somebody that's not used to cooking and making casseroles or cooking like this don't know what to do. So if some of y'all are saying, I wish you'd shut up and get to the end, I'm trying to teach people, and my granddaughter can come back and watch this at some point in her life and see how to cook like I did, step by step. That's why I talk and I show everything. So anyway, I'm going to get this done and then I'll be back. Okay, my onions are starting to brown a little bit, and my peppers have changed colors. They've turned a little bit darker. So I'm going to put my garlic in just for about a minute, and then I'm going to add the meat. If you put your garlic in and you cook it hot and too long, it gets bitter. So that's why you add it last, and then you put something else in there with it, and it doesn't have as much heat directly on the garlic, and it's not as bitter, and it doesn't get bitter. Now you could have some roasted garlic and put it in here, and that would really flavor it good. Now normally you would say when you start smelling the fragrance of the garlic, it's time to add the next thing to it, but I still can't smell from COVID. September will be 2 years. I think it'll be 2 years. Seems like a lifetime because I like to smell. And I can just try and try and try. Every now and then I'll get a whiff of something, but I can't depend on it. The thing that worries me about that is if my house were to catch on fire in the front and I'm in the back, I wouldn't smell smoke. Things like that bother me. But anyway, I'm going to put my ground beef in, and it's still partly frozen. Some of it's thawed, but it's not all thawed, so it'll have to cook and thaw at the same time. But what I like to do is scrape off what's thawed. Let that start cooking a little better. Most of the time, your casseroles warm up good. Now, the leftovers. I don't like to use the microwave because I think it changes the flavor. So the best thing to do is to put them in an oven-proof. If it's something that you want it to hold its shape. Now, if it's a stirred-up casserole, you can just put it in a skillet and warm it. But just warm what you're going to eat. You don't ever want to keep warming the same food over and over and over. I pretty well have a one-time limit. I'll cook it, and then when it's been warmed up one time, what's not eaten, the animals get. Because I don't like to keep warming stuff up. I think that that's not good. So take out a serving size and put it in a oven-proof dish and put it in the oven. If you want it like lasagna, if you want it to hold its shape, cover it in foil. Or if you want to just warm up something that's more of a stir-fry type, just put it in your skillet or a pot and heat it up. I'm going to let this continue to cook until the hamburger meat is no longer pink, and then we'll come back and we'll get to the next step. Okay, I want to show y'all. What I usually do is I'll scrape down what's thawed, flip it over and get what's on the bottom. And then this is just what I do. I stir it around and I put some of the hot stuff up on the top of it. It helps it to thaw quicker. So we're almost there on this, and we'll be ready to go to the next step and get it in the oven. I'm fixing to get my oven preheated to 350, and we'll be ready to get this casserole going. Okay, my meat is done. It's not pink anymore. So now I'm going to add in my spices. And I've added to the recipe. That's why I tell y'all need to watch, because I generally change it a little bit. You can drain this meat if you want to. I like the flavor of the fat from the beef. I'm leaving it in there. I've got a teaspoon of garlic, a tablespoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. It calls for cayenne. I didn't have that. It's got black pepper, white pepper, salt, oregano. So I'm going to get all the seasoning in there, and that'll be on the recipe card. I want this to get kind of into the meat, and then we'll add the rest of everything. It'll be spicy, but that's why it's called Cajun Cabbage Casserole. Okay, now we're going to add a can of, we call it, everything down here is rotel, but it's tomatoes with green chilies. And I'm going to add my tomato sauce. This is 8 ounces of tomato sauce. And I didn't have a little can, so I just had to open a big can, and I may just add the rest of it in there. Because we're going to add a ½ cup of raw rice, and I think I'm going to add the rest of that can of tomato sauce. I want to be sure that I have enough liquid for the rice. Get a little bit of water here. Calls for a few shakes of pepper sauce, and I don't have any pepper sauce, so we're not going to be doing that right now. I am going to add in a ½ cup of jasmine rice. You could probably add noodles or more rice, whatever you want to put in it. You have to adjust your liquids, though, to where you would have enough liquid. But you know, Cajuns do rice. Cajuns don't do a lot of pasta. Alright, I'm going to turn the fire out and get my pan ready to put it in and finish our getting it ready for the oven. Okay, I've sprayed my dish here with kitchen spray. And I'm going to get this back here. What I'm going to do now, and y'all can't see, can you? Let me tilt it down a little bit. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to shred this cabbage, and it's a small head of cabbage. And you just want to shred it. I like cabbage. I like to cook it down and put, have it with cornbread. Let me get that core out of there. Make it easier. You know, you probably could use a bag of coleslaw mix if you wanted to. But I had this little head of cabbage that was bought for this purpose, so I thought I'd go ahead and use it. I didn't like cabbage cooked when I was a kid, and one time Mama had cooked some and there was cornbread. Same thing happened with turnip greens. Daddy had him some cornbread. He was dipping it in his pot liquor, the juice. But when I tasted of it with that cornbread, it was a piece of squeezy cornbread, the fried, like I've got a video. Whew, I like that stuff. So I started liking it. I've been liking it ever since. My chicken's a little over that cabbage. Okay, what we're going to do now is put our meat mixture into the 9x13 pan. This is my stand pan, and I've told y'all before what I really like about it is you can use metal utensils and it doesn't hurt the non-stick in it. It's a wonderful company. Set that right there to cool a bit. Okay, now what we're going to do is sprinkle our cabbage over the top. This is kind of like unstuffed cabbage rolls, kind of, sort of. Then you're going to put some cheese. And just because I want to be sure the cabbage is flavored as well, I'm going to sprinkle, guess what? You won. You were right. Onion and garlic. And I would sprinkle a little salt and pepper, but I could do pepper, but Troy doesn't need a bunch of salt, so I'm not going to put any salt. Put some more of the cabbage. And some more of the cheese. So that was a cup of Colby Jack. And that's, I cheated and bought the one that was already grated this time. I am going to sprinkle a little black pepper on the top. And I like the coarse ground, and I usually grind my own, but today I'm just going to use that one. Okay, this is going to go into a 350 degree oven for about an hour, because you want your cabbage to wilt down and all of your flavors to blend. So when I get it out of the June oven, I'll bring y'all back, and I'm going to sample some of it for you so you know it's absolutely good. Just in case that I forget to tell y'all later, when you put that in the oven, you need to cover it with tin foil, because you need to keep the moisture in so the rice will cook and get soft. So I did go back and put tin foil over the top of it. Okay, y'all, I got it out of the oven. And it's neat because the cabbage is on the top mixed with the cheese and the meat mixtures underneath. I did sprinkle a little bit of salt on the top of the cabbage, so when you're layering it, you might want to add a little sprinkle of salt on your cabbage, because it was kind of bland. But the meat underneath, when you get a bite of all of it, it's wonderful. So let me get some on a plate where I can show y'all what it looks like, and I'll let you know what it tastes like. Okay, I'm going to get a little bit out of here, put it on this plate. With the rice in it and all, it really reminds me of cabbage rolls, and I love cabbage rolls. I already tasted of it, but I'm going to taste again so I can prove it to y'all. Let me get a spoon. Pretty spicy, so if you don't want to put as much pepper in it as it calls for, that's your option. I tasted of it because I wanted to make sure the rice was done. It's going to have to cool a minute, because I'm going to tell you what, I don't want to burn my mouth. I want to be able to enjoy some of it here directly. So I'm going to blow my germs on it. It's my serving. That's good. Let me get some tea. It's spicy. I like spicy, but I like something to drink when I have spicy. If you don't like spicy, don't put as much cayenne in it as it calls for, which I use, to be honest. You know those little packets that come with pizza when you get pizza and they'll give you red pepper flakes? I use 2 of those little packages, probably close to 2 teaspoons of the pepper flakes. So ours is spicy, but it sure is good. It tastes like the cabbage rolls that my aunt used to make, Aunt Audrey, but it's a whole lot easier. So I hope y'all will make this. I think cornbread would be really good with it, but Troy don't need the cornbread, so I'm not going to make cornbread. And I'm not going to make a salad because we got cabbage in the casserole. So we're just going to sit down and have a piece of, I'm going to have a piece of my homemade bread. I don't know if he'll choose to have bread or not. And casserole, and we fix to have us some lunch. And I'll be back in a day or two. If I do what I think I am, I've got a good pie coming up. And then I need to can some sweet relish. So there should be some canning and some pie making and something else good, no telling what. Thank you to all the new subscribers. Y'all just keep coming back and watching and visiting, and I'll appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up. I told y'all, I don't know what that does with YouTube, but it does you good if people like your video. So if you like it, give me a thumbs up, please. Hit the bell so they'll notify you, and a lot of people are saying they're not being notified and they hit the bell. Maybe if you undo the bell and redo the bell, maybe it'll work. I don't know. But I try to do, when I'm at my normal self, 3 videos a week, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and I'm trying to get back on that schedule again. So if I don't, just hang around and wait. Maybe I'll get it all together and get it going again, but I'm trying to get that going now. If it stays that hot outside, I'll be in here where it's cool doing something, and I'll be able to do that. I want y'all to put you a little extra something in your pantry. I've heard some horror stories about meat supplies and chickens and eggs and beef, and our vegetable crops in a lot of places have burned up from this intense heat. That means that what's left to be on the shelves at the store is going to be at an astronomical price. So y'all need to buy what you can at today's price, and then when it's so stinking high you couldn't afford it, you'll have a can of it at your house to eat and enjoy. Plan ahead, be wise. Don't buy stuff you don't like because it's on sale. Spend your money on stuff you're going to eat. But get some stuff in your pantry, because we're in for some lean times, I'm afraid. The good Lord will take care of us. I have all faith in Him, but I don't expect Him to just rain cans of food down out of heaven when I could have been putting some in my pantry and I didn't. You need to do your part and then ask Him to bless it and stretch it, or give you ways to cook it that'll make it feed more mouths. Do your part before you expect Him to do His. Y'all be back here in a day or two and see what we're doing good in the kitchen. And right now we fix to sit down and have lunch. The good Lord bless y'all.